I believe in truth and justice. And apparently you do too. This past week, you resoundingly delivered much-deserved justice to President Barack Obama, his policies, and his party. You put truth to power to change the direction that Barack Obama is taking this country. And your determination to take back America was historic. The largest Republican House majority in more than 80 years, a Republican-controlled Senate, historic Republican victories, replacing Democratic governors in blue states, Republican control of more state legislatures than at any point since the 1920s. President Barack Obama's effort to create a socialist-style government under the guise of being simply progressive was overwhelmingly rejected by you, the voters. And the ascent to power of those in the business community, those in the military, and philanthropists was a sharp contrast to the community organizer credentials that we've become accustomed to over the past 6 years. You rejected the make-believe war on women that this administration tried to sell, reducing our reproductive organs and pocketbooks to commodities in jeopardy should a Republican be elected, defeating even that age-old political strategy that if you repeat something often enough, people believe it to be true. The voters this time not low information, but instead briefed and savvy on the charades, the shell games, and the lies. And the president's reaction to all this?
To everyone who voted, I want you to know that I hear you. To the two-thirds of voters who chose not to participate in the process yesterday, I hear you too.
You hear them too? What did they tell you? And when asked whether he felt any responsibility to recalibrate his agenda, the president didn't answer the question, but instead started criticizing how Washington doesn't work well. Mr. President, one of the reasons Washington doesn't work well is because as a leader, if you want to call yourself that, you have created more division, more anger, and more hostility than most of us can remember in recent history. You didn't come clean about Benghazi, health care, Fast and Furious. You skirted scandals in the VA, the NSA, the IRS. You suborned the perjury of your high-level officials. And your incompetence handling Ebola in this country put our nurses at risk. And now you dig your heels in even deeper? After laying the groundwork to order more than 34 million work permits and green cards, you throw down the gauntlet saying,
Congress will pass some bills I cannot sign. I'm pretty sure I'll take some actions that some in Congress will not like. So before the end of the year, we're going to take whatever lawful actions that I can take that I believe will improve the functioning of our immigration system.
And the only alternative, according to you, Mr. President, would be for Congress to pass a bill that you can sign. Mr. President, with all due respect, you're still a bully. It's you either do it my way or I'll use an executive order to do it my way. Nowhere did you indicate that you would compromise with a historically large Republican Congress just voted in by the American people. I'm going to give you some bad news. You and Harry Reid won't be able to block bills so the Democrats don't have to take a stand on tough issues. And honestly, Dirty Harry Reid, the one who wanted to move the cattle for the tortoises, he should apologize to those cattle and cut the bull. And Mr. President, you're so delusional that you act like your party won. It didn't. Republicans won. And now it's their time to remove the label of the party of no and for the next 2 years put forth an agenda, bill by bill, that makes clear what they believe in. A stronger military, a secure border, the Keystone Pipeline, the repeal of the individual mandate in Obamacare, the ability to really keep your health care and your doctor. They must use the power of the purse that they now hold to counter your illegal executive actions. Republicans need to do something to convince Americans that they are not just the party of the rich. They must build support among Latino voters by doing something for the immigrants in this country. But there's still 2 more years of President Obama. And in those 2 years, this president will do everything he can to close Gitmo. And that means release terrorists. Reports are that if he can get Gitmo down to 100 inmates, it's now at 148, he can bring them to a prison in the United States, one earmarked in his home state of Illinois. And in that vein, just this week, Fauzi al-Auda, originally deemed too dangerous to release, a man who fought alongside al-Qaeda with the Taliban, was transferred out of Gitmo and sent back to Kuwait after the president's review panel said he was no longer a threat. That review panel, composed of many Guantanamo detainee defense attorneys, gave the okay. You know, reports are that up to 30% of those released from Gitmo actually return to the battlefield. Replenishing the enemy in the time of war is not justice. Mr. President, Americans see through you. Truth and justice is what they want. They want to take back America. And make no mistake, they have just begun. And that's my open.